Greetings Moto guys and Moto gals, and welcome back to the 333. Almost a year ago, I posted a 5,000 mile review on my 2018 Honda CB1000R. I was both amazed and delighted by the incredible responses I got to this video. So I felt it might be useful to do another update on my bike, which amazingly is now nearing the 12,000 mile mark. I'm not going to spend any time reviewing the basic features and functions of the bike. I covered all of that extensively in the 5,000 mile review, which I have linked below in the comments. Instead, for this post, I want to focus on these specific aspects of owning this bike: maintenance, durability, modifications, and daily ownership. Liter bikes are generally considered to be higher performing, higher maintenance bikes. They run hotter, produce more horsepower and torque, and generally require more upkeep than smaller CC bikes. So how has the CB1000R held up over 2 riding seasons? Well, knock on wood, for me this bike has run like a clock. Hondas have always had a reputation for reliability, and so far my CB1000R has exceeded that reputation. I'm pretty disciplined about keeping my bike maintained. I'm fortunate to have a garage to park it in, and I follow my shop manual guides pretty closely for regular maintenance intervals. I keep the chain lubricated and clean it regularly every 300 to 400 miles. I've adjusted the chain 2 or 3 times since owning the bike, and it's pretty easy to do now with the single-sided swing arm. I do regular inspections of the tires and brakes before each ride, and change the oil and filter every 3,000 to 4,000 miles using Honda HP4 Performance motorcycle oil and a high-flow filter. I use stabilized 93 octane fuel and always keep the tank topped off. The bike gets hooked up to a trickle charger after each ride, and when not riding, I store it on a Pitbull rear paddock stand. I bought this bike to ride it, and I don't feel that I necessarily baby it. I just try to follow recommended motorcycle maintenance practices, and that seems to have worked out well for me. So far, knock on wood, my bike has not had any major mechanical or warranty issues. The most significant issue I've had to date was a dented ABS sensor ring on the front wheel, which disabled the ABS system on the bike and needed to be replaced. The brakes still work fine the whole time, just without ABS functionality. It's unclear how the ring was damaged, but the only logical cause was road debris. Honda covered the parts under warranty, and even though it took a while to get them due to COVID-19, the issue was resolved satisfactorily. The stock Bridgestone Battle Axe tires, although well performing, only lasted for about 5,200 miles before being easily punctured by a small shard of glass. I replaced them with the Michelin Road 5s, which to date have racked up close to 7,000 miles and are still going strong. These tires work amazingly well on the CB1000R and my style of riding, which I would describe as spirited sports touring. After 2 seasons of ownership, as you can imagine, I've made some modifications and installed a variety of accessories on my bike. When I first acquired the bike, the amount of aftermarket accessories for the CB1000R was limited, but some excellent new products have started to appear on the market now, which is great if you plan on buying this bike. The first 2 accessories which I had installed by the dealership at the time of purchase were the CRG bar end mirrors and the Vortex frame sliders. The frame sliders are a solid bit of kit, and aside from scraping up the left one a bit after parking my bike too close to a concrete parking barrier, they have not been put to use, fortunately. One company I really like a lot and who offers a good selection of parts for the CB1000R is R&G out of the UK. I've installed several of their accessories on my bike, all of which I've been extremely happy with. To date, I've installed the R&G front wheel sliders, radiator cover, and rear wheel spindle bobbins. Recently, I removed the large clunky Honda OEM license plate hugger and replaced it with the well-designed R&G tail tidy kit. I documented that upgrade in another vlog post, and I provided the link for that video as well. I replaced the stock Honda exhaust can with a slip-on from Akrapovic. Slip-on replacements are a bit controversial in that functionally, they don't do a lot for your bike. Some performance purists will make the case that you should do a full exhaust system replacement if you seek a true performance boost for your bike. Personally, I feel that a full exhaust replacement on modern liter bikes is overkill, unless you're racing. Full systems are expensive, they can be tricky to install correctly based on the make and model of your bike, and they almost always require an accurate dyno test and remapping after they're installed. By replacing the Honda exhaust can with an accurate slip-on, it reduced some weight on the bike, improved the bike's appearance dramatically, and enhanced the exhaust note of the bike very nicely, all without compromising the bike's smooth, reliable factory tuning and performance. I added a Pugue windscreen and a rear cowling to my bike, which gives it more of a traditional cafe look. The windscreen also helps reduce wind buffeting on the chest area, so functionally it works really well. Some purists might argue that adding a windscreen to a naked bike defeats the whole purpose of owning a naked bike, but I feel this small windscreen was the right compromise in appearance and functionality. The rear cowling forfeits the use of the rear pillion seat, however I've removed my rear passenger pegs anyway, so it all works out for how I want my bike to look and function. I do use the pillion seat to mount a Nelson Rig travel case for longer rides. The Nelson Rig case is really well designed accessory and holds quite a bit of cargo for its size. Overall, after 2 full riding seasons and 12,000 miles, I still really love my Honda CB1000R as much as the first day I got it. But like with anything in life, there are some negative things that go along with owning and riding this bike as well. I covered some of these things in my 5,000 mile review, but there's a few additional notes to add to that list. After I posted the 5,000 mile review, I grew weary of looking at the giant bulky rear license plate hugger that comes standard on the bike, so I decided to install an RNG tail tidy kit. I documented this whole process in another video post. I feel like Honda needs to redesign this plate hugger on future versions of the CB1000R and make it easier to remove. It was way more involved than it should have been and required putting the bike up on an ABBA stand and removing the rear wheel and exhaust can. It turned out great and I love how it looks and works, but it definitely took a lot more effort than it should have. The CB1000R definitely has a limit on its comfort level as well. I replaced the stock seat with the Honda Alcantara model, which definitely improved the comfort level. However, I would say that the longest I can ride on this bike comfortably in one day is probably about 300 miles. I did do a 425 mile ride to the original Woodstock concert site this past summer, but I was definitely hurting after this ride. For me, the discomfort occurs mainly in my shoulder and neck area. The bike's ride is fairly stiff and athletic, so your shoulders sort of act like another set of shock absorbers, and you feel it for sure when you get past the 300 mile mark. Also, because it's a naked, it has no wind protection. So if you have to ride for extended periods on fast highways, it just plain sucks after about 45 minutes. There's no nice way to put it. Gas consumption is also a bit of an annoyance as well, especially if you like doing longer remote rides like I do. I can generally get about 140 miles on a full tank before I need to start looking for a gas station. In closing, I'm still really happy with my CB1000R and I would definitely recommend it for anyone considering buying one. I do plan on keeping it in my barn at least for a little while longer. I will say though that adventure style riding is really starting to grow on me. Although carving into corners is a blast for sure, I really want to start doing longer bike treks through different terrains, and I've been actively evaluating middleweight adventure bikes as a possible addition to my stable. For all its awesome qualities, the CB1000R is just really not designed for long adventure journeys that might take you off the beaten path. However, when it comes to all-day ripping on decent asphalt, it's a class-leading bike for sure. Thanks for watching, and if you like this content, please leave a comment and hit the subscribe button.